All right, are we ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All
Let's
right,
do it. Let's do it.
just go right into it.
Yeah, there's no.
So you,
We could do an introduction, but there's no point. What's the point of it? We're just having fun. We're talking about anime, so.
yeah. So there's a lot of interesting things about that show that we just haven't talked about.
Talking about One Piece.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we both went and watched the One Piece live adaptation, which has remarkably good reviews on
Okay.
on
This
Rotten
is.
Tomatoes somehow.
I left a tangent on IMDb because of how positive and negative the reviews were. There was no middle ground reviews. I
It's
left one
all
intentionally.
Fans. It's
It's all
either
uber fans.
like you just wanted more One Piece, or you're mad because it's not the right version of more One Piece.
Yeah, exactly. It's wild. It's so crazy. Because like I wrote probably, I guess it was a 2-page thing on Word with my review, because that's just who I am. I always write way too long. But like I wrote this whole huge thing just to basically I gave it a 5 out of 10, because there are good elements in it, but not enough for me to watch more than one episode.
It's so sad because they succeeded in all of the things that people thought would be really hard to succeed in, and then they just dumped everything else into the river. Like the CG was actually pretty good.
Very
Like
good.
the practical effects for especially something as difficult as like the gum gum fruit is insane. Like that one scene where he does like the gum gum pistol,
Yeah.
and you just see his hand stretch back, and you're like, wait, this is actually like pretty good.
Well,
I'm
that's
actually
actually-
like
it's
not
really good, yeah.
upset.
They
And so-
they did a good job with the cinematography on those, because they made it look cheesy, which is what you need to do. If it was by itself trying to be serious, it would look a little goofy. But they did a good job on that stuff.
Yeah, I think, yeah, like the CG was really good. I don't know what your problems are starting with it, because we have very different opinions.
Yeah, I figured we would. I figured we would.
See, for me, and this is the weird thing, it just gave me Pirates of the Caribbean vibes, which is probably a problem because that's not what it should be giving. It
That
just
is
kind of
my
scratched
problem.
a weird nostalgia itch for me. It felt
That is my exact
Very-
problem, actually.
very pirate, and it didn't. I don't know. It feels like the actual anime focuses a lot more on the sea and being a pirate, and it's like the island feels smaller and less of a deal and more kind of a pit stop. But like in the first episode, they kind of barely touch on it. Also, this is me going on tangents, but that every other character was really good. The main character, I don't know if it was the like stage directions, or if it was the script, or what. Like, why was this man smiling 90% of the time? I understand the anime, that's kind of how it was, but that's
Yeah,
just
that is
not the
Luffy.
tone that needed to be set.
Well, I think it's so much of it is I can always forget his name. Inyaka is his first name. The actor who plays Luffy is, sorry if you hear my dog freaking out. She's just doing whatever.
I do,
but-
and I'm upset.
Okay, well, you'll get over it. But no, it's this like, he's just not a good enough actor. Okay, my dog's freaking out. Give me a second. Hold on. She wants to go upstairs.
Fair.
Welcome back down. And we're back. Sorry.
And we're back. We're back. We're back. That's fine. That's fine.
So, no, in terms of,
You're saying the actor, yeah.
yeah, the actor, he didn't carry the role at all. This is my fundamental issue. It actually feeds into exactly my issue with the show. We're talking about Pirates of the Caribbean and how it feels a lot like that, and that's my problem. Is that Netflix should have had the balls to make their own show that's a pirate show instead of piggybacking off One Piece. Because the
Yeah.
entire reason they did it is they wanted a pirate show, maybe, but they knew that they couldn't make a unique thing, so they chose One Piece as an IP that's already got people following it.
It's free fan base. It really is.
Exactly. Well, this is a side tangent we don't have to go into. This is anime focused, but that's a big problem in all of Hollywood and everything in itself.
I mean, it is
It's
kind
just-
of anime focused. So much of what Netflix has been doing is just taking animes and exploiting them.
Yeah, you're just piggybacking off the fan base to get extra viewers. You're not making something unique and interesting. So I think the show could, like, the people who made the show, right? Like, there's so much potential for a good pirate series that's not One Piece. Because the set design is incredible. The music is insanely good. Those are both like even the costume design for the most part is good. It's actually probably the weakest of the practical side of it. But like my biggest issue, and this is kind of again the whole thing with going back into Luffy, is every character that's like one of the main characters sticks out like a sore thumb.
They're all very
middle
different.
Of this. Well, not even that, but it's just the anime style of character does not fit with your darker, gritty pirate story.
Yeah, it really doesn't. I mean, the characters were a huge problem in the show. I thought that I don't know why I'm so bad with names. The girl, I thought that she was probably the best out of all of them.
I agree.
In terms of acting, in terms of actual character, not really. Like,
yeah, she was a bit. Even in the show, they've not gotten to like. I've not watched that much One Piece. I'm only on episode I think 18 or 19.
Yeah,
I started it just for fun, and then they made this, and like, oh, that'll suck. But yeah, it's like she is. I always forget her name too. My brain blanks. I'm not good with any of like her specifically. I always forget her name. Everyone else, I can remember even like later on some characters, but her I can never remember her name. But basically, like she is probably. In terms of character development, they've not gotten to her actual character yet, which is going to happen in the next episode, probably.
Haven't watched it.
Yeah, well, it's just by the way that the anime goes. I've not read the manga because so many.
Self-respect.
I mean, I would love, if I had the ability to, I would love to get into it, but I have already a backlog of manga that I haven't read. One Piece would be another series I just won't touch for a long time.
I mean, there's literally Ludwig was saying that he spent like years on the One Piece manga catching up.
That even like there's been multiple people I've talked to that have said like they just caught up, and it's like, dude, that is insane. Like the longest show I have ever watched is Doctor Who, and I watched all of it. And that's 26 of the original season. Like the original show running was 26 seasons, and then the extra at the time I think it was 10. The 10 other seasons that I'd seen them all previously, but I was gonna rewatch them. So it's 26 seasons of roughly between 14 to 20, up to actually a couple of them had 40 episodes. That's all. It took me 2 years. It took me 2 years to watch all of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, One Piece is about the same in terms of episodes, and if not a little longer. And that's just manga, especially. It's so expensive.
You have to wait until episode 800, though. It gets so much better at episode.
I know, it gets so much better. You don't have the good part yet. You don't have the good part yet.
Yeah, it's like, but like if you're enjoying it, that is the good part. But if you're not enjoying it, it's because you haven't gotten to the good part.
It's the Final Fantasy of anime.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy
the next
14
expansion,
of
I swear.
It gets so much better. It gets so much better. And not that it's bad. Like, it's not bad. It's just that you can't keep pushing expectations until the next thing.
You can't just keep saying the next thing is better. It's like, and I'm going to go back to Final Fantasy. It's like if you would enjoy ARR if all you had was ARR. You would enjoy Heavensward if all you had was Heavensward.
Yeah, exactly. In the moment, you love it because it's the new thing.
The problem is people keep telling you that the better thing is the new thing that's not that.
You like the next one. You like the next one, except for Stormblood. Screw Stormblood.
Everyone hates Stormblood. It's worse than ARR.
But it's just that you keep pushing off and pushing off and pushing off the anime, and it just doesn't work. You can't do that.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with One Piece, and this is a weird thing, whoever made those storyboards failed hard.
Oh yeah? What do you mean?
Okay, so like the whole like flashback thing. So like how we deal with flashbacks, how we deal with continuity, just felt so off the whole time.
It was really bad.
They would just jump cut to like a whole different timeline, or jump cut to like something that didn't matter. Side note, honestly, the only character in that show that was absolutely standout performance was the captain's son. Excellent casting choice. What a good choice.
Yeah. He did especially with, I don't know, have you seen the episodes in the anime with him in it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He did the character really well. Like it's
he was spot on.
Well, even to me, like I thought that crap, can't think of his name. Luffy's mentor,
Shank.
Shank. There we go. I kept like my head go like Scrap or something like that. Like, that's not right. Shank.
Bud.
Yeah, Bud, Captain Bud. No, Shank. Shank, the actor did a really good job too. I think Shank was well casted. The problem was his dumb red hair. He looked ridiculous. Again, the costumes don't fit the serious tone.
No.
But I going into Shank, they're going into the backstory stuff. That made me actually mad because they ruined Luffy a little bit.
Literally,
I'm
made
sure.
him seem
I'm
like a little scrappy young buck who just was entitled beyond repair.
which he kind of is in the anime.
But you're supposed to learn that, and it's supposed to be intermingled with character development. It's not supposed to be immediately like this kid sucks and is immature and you hate him. It's supposed to first off be like, oh, look at this cute kid who has like such weirdly ambitious goals.
It's like they. So the one biggest thing, right, is that when they have Luffy eat the gum fruit.
Gum fruit.
It's just a dumb name, but yeah, or the devil fruit that gives him the gum
Yeah,
or whatever you want to call it. But they have him eat it in the anime, the original anime. And this is me being the actually guy, but in the anime, he actually eats it as a point to say, "I'm gonna eat this fruit" to Shank. And Shank's like, from what I remember, it's been a little while, but it's like, he just kind of blows it off like, no, you won't do it. It's fine. And then he eats it. And he's like, holy crap, you ate the fruit.
That's a moment for him.
That's a moment where he was being immature but did it. Versus in the show, he's just like, oh, I found a fruit in a box.
I like this fruit. It looks so cool. I want to eat it.
What is the point of that? I know he stabs himself in the face as a point to it. And I've not gotten that far in the anime. That may be another backstory thing that happens later on that I don't know. I wouldn't be certain that actually does happen in the anime or the manga or whatever. But you took that part out, and now Luffy just walks in and stole a supposedly valuable thing, and that makes him that's a change in character. You can't just do that.
Yeah, how do you prove that you're the best pirate of them all that deserves to be on someone's crew? Steal and eat their loot.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, this is like, I keep saying my fundamental issue. It's not my fundamental issue, but it's like, this is one of the many issues of the show as well, is that the way they wrote it, it falls into the exact same streaming service show problem that every single show falls into.
What, too long?
Where they're having to fill in. It's so boring, and especially when you're adapting this, you're taking all of the good parts of the shonen anime, which, let's be real, 80% of shonen's cool action set piece.
Yeah.
And you're just wringing all the cool stuff out of it and leaving all the talking, which is pretty much shonen's weakness.
Yeah, it's rough because the problem is that, like, you know, we're talking about like a what is it, 24 minutes? I think it's even less than 24 minutes in the anime. But it's like
22-ish, 23-ish minutes.
Why do these streaming services feel the need to push
hour-long
episodes? Because you can do so much more, and then you don't have to deal with any of those like filler problems. And there's still shows that do it and are successful. I don't know. It really suffered from that a lot because you get halfway in and you're just like, well, like what is going on? And as someone who has watched like the anime episodes that it's based off of, you're just kind of like, why are we here?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's something I noticed immediately was going into it. The pacing was so off because
it was fast and slow at times. It couldn't decide.
Yeah. There's moments. Yeah. It takes. This is like, since they cut up the story so much and like just kind of reimagined it, not like they changed anything. I think it's still pretty faithful, but they just realigned all of it to where now it's like the original the anime felt like a Saturday morning cartoon. I know, but it's like it felt like a Saturday morning cartoon where it felt like, okay, I sit down, I watch Luffy goes on this fun adventure. It's a multi-part story. Yeah. I follow all of that through, and you get to the end, and it maintains the mystery because I didn't like the way from the very beginning they have Luffy talking to a bird, and talking about who he is, and that ruins the mystery of Luffy because in the first episode he's in a barrel. You don't know he's there. They see a barrel, they bring it in,
Yeah.
and they're on this big fancy cruise, and then suddenly Alvida attacks, and they are all shooting and blowing stuff up and all this stuff.
It's shown.
And then he just pops out of the barrel, and then it gets attacked by pirates, and the blades break when they hit him.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what?
And
Okay, we'll just keep going.
That's the fun part. I think the original kind of struck the same chord as like Avatar, right? Where it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly,
there's this overarching story that's happening, but like I could watch any episode independently and be like, oh, that was a good time.
That was a fun
And
episode.
I don't know. This is not even really a critique, but I watched that episode, and as soon as I was done with it, I was like, I don't know, that was kind of a good time. And the more and more time passes, I'm like, that wasn't really a good time. That was just like watching pirate show with like the expectation that something else was going to happen.
That was torture for me. I knew I was done about 12 minutes in. I just couldn't do it. I watched all of it slowly, but man, it was rough for me. I couldn't get through it. That's why I'm it's just boring. I don't want to. It's not even that it does a terrible job at anything. It's just, it's a lot of small bad things that if they had made a good pirate show on its own, I'd probably be okay with it. But because you can easily just go watch the anime and it's better.
It is. And they have no respect for the anime. I don't mean that in like some grand like meaning. I just mean that like quite literally the anime introduced things when it wanted to introduce them. And the Netflix adaptation decided that wasn't what it wanted to do. I mean, we learned so much information about people. I haven't learned any of that stuff about Zoro, or at least I don't remember it. Like that whole scene where he's like fighting with that like
the very beginning.
The guild or whatever, and I was like, I don't remember seeing this in the anime.
Because I think it is later on. I'm sure it does play into something later on that we don't know about because we've not watched that far.
But again, that is like not the respect that it deserves. You need to like play things out as they happen.
So in theory, right, from what I have heard, and I could be wrong, but it's basically the creator of the manga. He was there helping them and making, like, he was approving everything they were doing. So in theory, I believe he gave it the green light to do it. So it's not really disrespectful, but I just think from a storytelling perspective, you're making it disjointed and ruining the slow mystery. Because I think even that beginning, what makes Zoro so interesting is Alvida just dropping his name that she's looking for Zoro.
Yeah.
And you don't know who Zoro is. You think he's this huge threatening pirate. You don't know anything about him. And then you find him strung up in a Navy base.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, what happened to him? What's going on? Versus now they introduce him as this he's just like basically a maybe early 20s, maybe.
Yeah.
This guy, and he's
jumps up with a little girl and he gets put in prison. And you know that straight from the get-go, so you know he's a good-hearted, kind man.
Yeah. When you don't know that from the beginning when you see him, because you just see him tied up in a Navy base. And
that's what I'm saying.
You see him as being
the Netflix
really
adaptation.
Rough. Well, I know. That's what I'm saying, is like the Netflix adaptation puts all that first, so it ruins the slow burn of like, okay, well, he's probably a not nice guy. And then eventually, as it goes farther in, you're like, oh well, he did all this stuff. Like you don't when you see him tied up in the Navy base, you don't know his motivation until he tells you later on. Versus this, it just shows it from the beginning.
And it's frustrating because I mean, like if you're writing a murder mystery, you're not gonna immediately put every clue on the first page. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that it seems like what they want to do is just get you attached and overloaded to all of the characters that they have in hopes that it'll keep you watching, but the problem is they leave you nothing to keep watching for.
It feels like they're simultaneously trying to speedrun the series while also wanting to make it last as long as they can.
Yeah, they're trying to hit all the major plot points, but take as long as possible in the hour they're given to get there. There's
so much downtime in the episode. There is like maybe 3 action scenes, and it covers I mean, it only goes up, this one only goes up until right before Buggy. Now, I will say the casting for Buggy could be interesting. That's like the one part that would make me consider watching episode 2, because I like the choice they made to make him like Heath Ledger's Joker, basically.
Yeah.
And that's a cool choice. And
that's a good choice, and it's making it your own.
And I don't know if that's the actor or the director or whatever, but like that's a solid choice that would make me actually consider going back and watching episode 2. But otherwise, it's so ugh. There's just nothing.
I just want to see
there.
More action. I want to see more shonen from the show. The problem is that it didn't touch any of that.
It's just too long. Because I know you can't add like 30 action pieces in one episode, but when you had it 20 minutes a piece, and there are some entirely too long action pieces. I don't know how far you got into the anime, but I don't know if you got to the arc with Clawhador yet.
No.
Okay, that goes on for like it's basically a fight scene that goes on for 4 episodes.
Nice.
So there's a lot of good things in there, but it just takes forever.
You can't make that live action, yeah.
Yeah, because it would be boring. Now, to be fair, in the show, it's also kind of boring because it lasts too long. But
yeah,
it's at least in the show, it at least has something more visually interesting than a bunch of people standing and talking with the already shonen-y dialogue, which is just super shallow. There's nothing thoughtful about it. It's just like, oh, this happened. We're gonna do this now. I want to be king of pirates.
I want to be king of pirates. Except, what's funny is that there's actually mystery around why he wants to be king of pirates, but we already know.
Yeah.
We know why he does in episode 1 because they made sure that we knew that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think in the anime it's like episode 3 or 4, but it's like a whole episode dedicated to him and Shanks. But even so,
that was a good episode.
It's a good episode, but you're just like, oh, he wants to be king of the pirates. That's interesting, and that's it. Like that's all you know from the beginning for several episodes, and then it goes into this one. It's just there's so much that I think they tried to do, and it almost all falls flat on its face.
It's just they tried to do too much with what they were doing. Like, for example, I don't need 17 action sequences in the first episode, but how about keep the 3 but make the first episode like 25-30 minutes? We did not need an hour to cover that space.
Not to say it can't be done in an hour. I think if it's done right, it can be done in an hour, but it's not done right because it's Netflix. And it's just the people there don't. It's again, every streaming service has this problem when they try to make these shows that are just boring. They can't fill in the space. I mean, I've not watched it, but from what I've heard other people say and all this stuff, because I gave up on it. Ahsoka is the same way.
Oh yeah.
Every streaming service show I've watched for the most part just takes forever to get itself going.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It's a pacing problem. They don't understand how to pace it.
Well, they just think that they have a sufficient hook and they don't understand how to actually write. They think it's all about the hook. And for them, it's like they don't really know how to lead up to that. It's not
even about the hook. They think it's exclusively about the IP. It's exclusively about, well, this is a Lord of the Rings show. People will love a Lord of the Rings show.
This is a
we can write whatever. It's Lord of the Rings. This is One Piece show. It's all the same stuff. I mean, Death Note was the same way too when they adapted that live action.
Yeah, I would rather them be much more outside the lines and create something that's entertaining, because like no one just wants to watch One Piece 2.
I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I could be entirely wrong because I've met One Piece stans who would kill for One Piece 2. Just
the One Piece fans are pretty feral. No shame to the One Piece fans out there, but like, y'all need to take a shower or touch grass or something sometimes.
Yeah, y'all actually just want One Piece, but like reanimated. It's like in those scenes in movies where there's that scene in The Office when they're at the accountant's office to like figure out if they can afford to hire a driver, and they just tell the accountant crunch the numbers again.
Yeah.
And he's like, that won't make a difference, and they're like, no, just do it. And that's One Piece fans to me. They're like, no, just rerun it. Just rerun it.
Just do it again. Yeah.
It'll be the same thing. I know. I just want it.
Well, they're so they're so satisfied with just watching the show. And again, it's great. I'm glad that One Piece fans like the show. The show is not all bad.
It's fine
There
to
are good
continue
things,
going. We just don't need 2 of the exact same timeline of the show.
but just that's what I don't understand about live action remakes of anything. I don't understand what it even does, or even it's the same goes for remakes of stuff. Like
Yeah.
they had the West Side Story remake. And I've told people like people want to go see it. I'm like I'm not gonna go see it because it's the exact same story. I don't care. What is the point? What cultural relevance does it have? What does it say? What does it do? It does nothing. It doesn't.
It needs to do
anything
something
new.
different, but no one wants to see it actually do something different, and that's the problem. And that's why, like, it's just a bad idea in general, because if you're making a live action remake, your goal is not to like make something new. Your goal is just to try and either harvest from the IP or harvest from nostalgia, and neither of those
Yeah.
are a win. It's the same reason the Avatar remake is almost surely going to be a
gonna flop.
letdown.
It's gonna
Yeah.
flop. I'm not gonna
No-
watch it.
no one
Unless
wants
that's
to see
maybe
it.
for views. Maybe for views. I would
If I
watch
see
it for
like an
views.
80%, then maybe. But like, I've never
This has
encountered
got a
a single
90 or
anime
something, doesn't it?
remake. You saw what?
Doesn't One Piece have like a 90?
I thought it was an 80. Hold on, I can
Maybe it was an
actually
80.
check
I
this.
could. Yeah, you can check. I know on IMDb it was an 80 or an 8 point whatever.
It's gone down for sure.
It has to. All the One Piece fans have finally watched it, and they're like, okay, they've all calmed down. They've got the actual people who will give it a fair try, who
What's the
like
problem?
One Piece, but
It got good reviews at first because people wanted more One Piece, and that's what they got.
Yeah.
And I think people are slowly realizing. Okay, on IMDb it's got an 8.5. That's insane.
yeah,
Hold on, let's check Rotten Tomatoes.
you can see my review on there if you want. It's the 5 out of 10.
I'm pretty sure I'm hearing your review right now.
Oh, you're hearing most of it. Mine might be
alright.
slightly more scathing on
This is
90.
insane. An 85%, a 96% audience score.
Good night. What?
Does it get better? Do I need to watch more episodes?
I don't want to.
I would.
You could. That's fine.
Here's
Unless
the
like,
problem. I
Ugh.
want to. I just don't want to spend another 8 hours watching
Exactly.
episodes.
So I have my notes here, right? I wrote notes because that's what I do when I'm being a serious reviewer. I write notes.
Yeah.
And I wrote 2 pages of notes. That covers the first 12 minutes. And then I stopped because I was like, my brain's just off. I'm done. This is so dull.
That's hilarious. It is truly mind-boggling that it's like 8. How many episodes is it? I'm just gonna assume it's
8.
9.
It's 8. It's 8.
It's 8
I believe
episodes.
it's
8 hours of total content. Do you know how many seasons of actual One Piece I could get through with 8 hours?
8. In theory, how many seasons you'd only get through?
Or I
what is
guess
it?
what is
We'll
it?
go it's. I think they're not all an hour long. There's like a varied amount.
Which
Let's
again,
see.
stupid. Stop doing that.
It's I would just
No
have
one
it-
wants your
this is their
varying
problem, right?
television
They give them too much. Like, again, that's a streaming problem. Is they give them too much leniency in terms of time. It's fine if you know how to use it right, but the problem is these people don't. They do it like, oh, that's fine. If this episode's 30 minutes, it's whatever. They don't write. They don't. The time constraint is useful. You
Yeah.
write over the amount you need, and then you burn it down to the absolute essentials. That's what makes it interesting. You
Yeah.
cannot just let these writers do whatever they want with it, because it won't work. That's
All right, I'm
loud.
gonna be real with you. The first season of One Piece is 23 hours.
23 hours?
It is 61 episodes. I just did the math.
Holy
it is
crap.
61 episodes.
Oh,
23
that's not the
minutes.
first season. It's the East Blue arc, yeah.
Yeah. 23 minutes an episode divided by 60 for hours. 23 hours. That's insane.
Okay, so this one. Okay, so almost all of them are an hour. Only one that's not an hour, basically, is a couple of them, because it's like, yeah, one.
They ran out of stuff.
Yeah, but I could be wrong. I think this covers the whole East Blue arc, or at least close,
That's insane.
which is bonkers.
because the
'cause you
first
write
episode
8
covers about the
hours.
first 4 episodes.
Yeah, it covers all the way up to Buggy. And then the second one, I believe, covers all the way through the Buggy arc, and then I think into the Clawhador arc.
That's insane to me. That's just I can't imagine.
Oh no, episode 3 is the one with Clawhador. Episode 3 is Clawhador.
Okay.
Okay, now episode 3 and 4 are Clawhador.
So they did add some action. That's where all the budget went. I wonder what their budget for this show was.
2 hours of that. I mean, that's the one with One Piece, right? It's also, this is a big thing people don't think about when they write stories, is how satisfying it is to have an ending. It's how satisfying it is to have a definitive ending. And this is, again, another problem with streaming stuff. I want to keep going into that. But when you have a 20-minute episode, your brain goes, oh, happy, I finished 20-minute episode. And you're like, I'll watch another one. Versus if it's an hour episode, you're like,
I'm not
I
sitting
watched
down
20
for
minutes of this.
another
This is so boring. Like a movie, you're like, okay, 2 hours long. I want to watch a 2-hour movie. We'll watch a 2-hour movie. We're good. We're done. We're good. Happy days. Everyone's great. I finished it. It's like reading a chapter in a book.
Yeah.
Your brain's happy when you finish a chapter because brains work like that. They want a segmented thing of I finished this, so I can go on to this, finish that, go on to that. It's a completionist mentality. These things are an hour long.
After an hour, you feel so nasty.
Boring. I got, again, if each of these were, if it was a, let's go with, they cut these all in half and made it a 16 episode, each one's a half episode, 30 minutes apiece. Much more palatable to me.
That would be fine, because that would also follow the similar episode count to an actual anime. I would much
still
rather
be
them.
probably boring, but it would at least feel better.
It would be probably boring, but it would be fine. I mean, like, these hour-long shows just need to stop. I mean, even Disney's kind of given up on it. I don't know if you've noticed, but most of the newer, like, Marvel or, like, Star Wars shows, they'll start at, like, 50 minutes, and then by the last episode, it's, like, 24. I think
I think episode 5 of Ahsoka was like 25 minutes.
They just give up because they realize that no one wants to watch that, and they just overload you with information on the front end, thinking it's gonna work. But like that's definitely besides the point of One Piece. I think One Piece, the hour long, it's like, you know, it's not great, but honestly, it suffers because they just can't utilize that 1 hour.
Yeah, exactly.
All. They just don't know how to actually make use of that time. So I think it could have done with a lot better pacing. For me, I mean, it's like I was saying, the storyboard, whoever did the storyboard was just like on acid or something. Like at one point he was like, he like looked like several chapters ahead in the manga and just went, you know what?
Sure.
I like this.
They still go there. It'll be fun. Yeah. I don't think it's even a storyboard. I think it's probably a writing thing. They probably did storyboard some of it, but oftentimes with these live action things, it's all going to be written and then storyboarded, not vice versa. Versus an anime, it's usually the other way around. It's storyboarded and then written, which makes it more visual and more interesting. But it's just, I honestly just thought about this too. If they had even taken 2 episodes, right? Smash them together, release one quote-unquote movie a month. Or even every 2 weeks. That would be much more palatable to me.
Maybe, but that's just not the itch that One Piece is aiming to.
I know, but I'm just...
I mean, look at Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan finally took the model of like, all right, we're gonna take this shonen and we're gonna try and make something more grand with
That's
it.
fair.
Nope, no one wanted it. It has lost so much viewership.
That
over
is
the course of
arguably
swapping.
part. That's arguably more a part of the way the story kind of went, and less so the pacing issues.
Yeah, but I'm not willing to jump into their whatever, like 2-hour part season or whatever, where they like did like a 2-hour episode or whatever. I'm not willing to jump into that. Whereas I would have maybe gone back if it was like, all right, I could try 1 episode and see if it's all right.
I bailed out after season 4, part 2.
I bailed out after the season where they just had like 5 recap episodes in a row, and I was like, why? Why are you recapping me? This is
I think that was season 4. Season 4 episode or part 2. God.
Literally, like, guys, Eren is marching down the street as a mega titan, like about to destroy the world.
Spoilers, by the way. Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. People, come on. You don't want to watch it anyway. This is why we're
That's fair.
Like, he is marching down the street of the ocean to go destroy the world, and you're sitting around a campfire being like, remember that time that we did that thing? That's so interesting. No one cares.
Yeah, no, it's just you can't do that. It's so bad. The way Attack on Titan was so depressing.
It's just so sad to see something so great fall from grace so heavily. Like the
I know.
entire series was just like arguably, I think, the peak of shonen. And I know people are going to be upset about that because this is like the most sweaty, grassless community to like pick wars between. I'm going to get absolutely
My
blasted
anime
for
list
starting
would
this.
differ.
But like,
it's so fun. I'll talk about that in a second.
yeah, I was just gonna say that like to pit like Attack on Titan against like One Piece or like One Punch.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, One Punch fans are something else.
They've kind of died out, honestly.
They've
I've
died
just
out, but
less-
they've become more cult.
in their peak, they were really obnoxious.
Yeah, and then you know there's the wrong ones like Akame ga Kill. Like you can't actually genuinely believe that dumb show is actually the best. Anyway, moving on.
I'll say this one small thing, then I'll go into my other tangent about my anime list. I remember in middle school having debates. I mean, it was actually probably early high school. I don't think it was middle school. Having people talk about who would win in a fight, Goku or Saitama. It was every single time I went to anything, any kind of youth thing, any kind of school thing. I don't know. It was every single time. It was, who would win? Who's more powerful? Why is the dog barking? But it's like, who would win? And it's like, really? We're gonna. Who cares?
I don't know. People just get so wrapped up into the debate
I
of like
know.
which one is best. I think there's arguably probably 4 shonens that I would put on the mantle of contending for the best for various different reasons. You have Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia, One Piece, and then the fourth. What was I gonna say for the fourth?
I was gonna say my personal choice for top tier shonen is Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, I don't even consider that shonen. I'm gonna be real.
It's so good. It's
It's
insanely
really
good.
good.
It's
I watched the original, and then I just didn't go back and watch Brotherhood. I don't know what it was.
I did the same. I did the same. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because
I've
it's the
heard
whole One
I need
Piece
to watch
dilemma.
Brotherhood.
I
I have no
don't
issue with
want-
Brotherhood because people will crucify you if you don't watch Brotherhood.
No, I have no
I haven't
issues with
watched-
Brotherhood.
yeah.
I just I got my Full Metal fix. I didn't need
Yeah.
more of it, and that's
Now,
fine.
everyone I've mentioned says you have to go back and watch Brotherhood because it's more accurate to the manga, and the ending of the original one is stupid. But the one in Brotherhood is way better. So
Okay.
I need to go back and watch it eventually, but we'll get there eventually. We'll get there at some point. We'll get there.
Definitely, that's actually the next episode. We're gonna go through all of Brotherhood,
The
and all
entirety
of the
of Brotherhood.
original, and we're gonna do a comprehensive dive.
Heck
into
yeah,
all of it, yeah.
let's do it. I got nothing going on. I do have stuff going on.
I could have nothing going on and not have the time for that somehow.
Well, it's because that would be what I know the original. So it's the original Full Metal Alchemist is 52 episodes. I think it's maybe 50, maybe a little
That's
more.
long, but that's not
50-something
like
episodes.
One Piece long. So you're like chilling. It's like doable in a month.
That 100% in a month. But then you have on top of that a movie you have to watch for that one, and
Yeah.
then I think it's like 3 seasons of Brotherhood.
Yeah,
So that's another 60-something episodes.
cannot. Physically won't. I would
yeah,
rather
not-
use that time towards something else. I need to finish Cowboy Bebop. That's my greatest sin.
I love Cowboy Bebop. It's so good.
I really need to finish it. I was talking to a coworker who he's not an anime guy, but I mentioned that I was watching anime, and he was like, I love Cowboy Bebop, and I was like, this is such like a non weeb show. Like a lot of people
Yeah.
have seen it, especially since it came over to Netflix. I feel like a lot of people have watched it,
Yeah.
and that
Well,
that-
that's like that's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say that was kind of the hope. That's the hope that Netflix has with everything they do into
Yeah.
anime. And Vinland Saga has kind of done that. It's kind of brought anime into Netflix's limelight, but it feels like they just can't keep the ball rolling at the pace they need to.
No.
I mean, you're competing with Funimation and Crunchyroll here. You can't really expect to actually take a bite out of that market share.
Crunchyroll it's a monopoly. I mean, I don't know who allowed Crunchyroll to buy Funimation, because that
insanity.
is genuinely a monopoly. The only one that's because now all there is Crunchyroll, and Funimation's gone now. I think they migrated everything. Or not Crunchyroll. Funimation's gone. Crunchyroll's still around. I don't know if I said the other way around. Funimation's gone. It's been migrated all into Crunchyroll, and same with Verve. Verve is gone too.
I was a Verve subscriber. Personally, I liked Verve better than Crunchyroll.
I agree. I think it was a better UI and it felt better overall.
It was nice. The discoverability was for sure worse. But in terms of categorizing everything you're watching and like discovering more niche things within
it was
your
good
genres,
to find what you were looking for.
Yeah. Crunchyroll's a mess.
Crunchyroll's a dumpster fire.
What I appreciated about Verve is, if I remember correctly, I think they made it so that both Japanese and English names were cataloged, whereas in Crunchyroll, sometimes it's only the English or only the Japanese, and that's really frustrating.
Well, I think every time it's only the English, depending on where, like, your region, on the Crunchyroll.
Yeah, it's really frustrating.
I believe it's only the English.
Because sometimes you can only find the Japanese. Like, I've been trying to find. There's this one cycling anime that I've been trying to find.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
And
I've
it's
not
so
seen it, but
difficult to find because it every list I find it on only has the Japanese name, and I think I found it on 9anime, but I don't like watching stuff on 9anime. I don't want 18 million viruses.
Anyway,
interested in some fake supplement? Go to 9anime.
Yeah, hentai game. No, I was gonna say though, it's funny to me that like Cowboy Bebop is basically to the U.S. as Eva is to Japan, from what I know. Because Eva is the mainstream anime in Japan.
Gotcha.
Everyone knows Eva there. Evangelion, for those who don't know. But I was talking to someone the other day. We're talking about anime, and I said Eva. He's like, "What?" And I'm like,
"I'm learning that
Evangelion."
Just now, so I like Evangelion. I've been working through it with a friend of mine where I live, very slowly. We've just been doing like the movie versions.
Okay.
He's not like someone who can commit to a bunch of time stuff, but he really likes Evangelion, so we've been working through him. I'm not even a mech guy. I like Evangelion.
I need to watch it. It's like I haven't seen it. It's like the one huge mainstream one I have, or it is a few actually. I can't say that. There's a lot of big mainstream ones.
There's always more.
There's always a ton. So I've not seen Ava. I've not seen Hunter x Hunter. I've not seen a lot of One Piece. I've seen
you
parts.
Gotta check Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, I need to. I'm trying to think of anything else. Like those are the ones that are coming to my head right now. Hunter x Hunter is the one I've always heard that you need to watch it. And I'm like, I'll get it. It's not a huge one for me.
That would arguably be another shonen top tier.
I'd have to watch it, but.
And then of course Sword Art Online is just number one. But specifically after season 1. Specifically
the gun game art is peak.
Honestly, gun game art was the best in the show. It was the best version of the show, but my nostalgia lies with part 1 of season 1.
Yeah, my brain watched season 1 like, this is trash.
This is utter garbage, and I'm in the gutter, but this gutter is very warm and cozy and makes me feel nice.
This is a small spoiler for SAO, but the fact that the show is called Sword Art Online, and only the first 14 episodes are actually in SAO is hilarious to me.
And the fact that there's an entire arc that is about having no swords.
Yeah, exactly. It's a goofy show. I don't get that one. It's a great concept for a show, and it gave us a lot of really interesting RPG, MMO kind of.
It developed that genre a lot and gave it a lot of credibility, but I still think we haven't seen it.
It basically gave us that genre.
I still think we haven't seen its final evolution. I still think we need another definitive defining one. So,
this is not defining at all, but there's a really good one that I watched. It's not a full dive show, because those are always kind of a little iffy to me. You've got stuff like Overlord.
But it's sketchy.
You got Overlord, which I haven't seen Overlord, and I've heard that one's pretty good. But I watched one that was basically a romance set with a couple people who met in an MMO.
That's funny.
There's actually a couple that I've seen, but there's some fun ones out there.
You remember what it's called?
But something Yamada-kun level 99 or 999.
Oh, amazing!
It was actually from last season.
Oh, okay.
It's really recent. It's quite good. I love the show.
I'd be interested
I'm
to give it
looking
a
at
try.
my
That
watch
sounds like
list
a
because I
interesting
have it on my
one.
watch list.
My watch list is
Maybe
so
I-
bad that I've just you know how
don't.
you can make like crunchy lists that isn't your
Yeah,
watch list? I just started a new one that's like my actual watch list.
Okay.
And I'm limiting myself to having 5 on there at a time. I can't have my queue be like 80 series anymore.
I just throw everything on my list. It's bad. It's called My Love Story with Yamada Kun at level 999.
That's funny. I need to give that a try. That's a
Very
hilarious
weird,
concept.
but very fun. It's a fun time. It's a really good show. Basically, this is like one creepy thing is that she's a like first year college student and he's like a senior in high school basically. So
Interesting.
not distant in age, but still a little weird.
A little strange.
But
Does she also
No, it's
happen
like-
to be 4'3" and look like a child? Because this is an anime.
no, she looks like an adult, which is one of the reasons I like it. Same reason that I will always push, if you like romance, go watch Uzaki-chan, because it takes place in college, and we need more college romances instead of stupid high school
We
romances.
really do. It's so bad how this trope has just dominated the market.
I get it, right? I get it that, I know in Japan it's a cultural thing, that they always view, high school as like the peak of your life, essentially. It's the same reason that Persona games are always set in high school,
Yeah.
and why they're so popular. But it's just so boring. It's the same exact tropes every single time.
Well, it is
and there are
funny.
some standouts, but go ahead.
I was just gonna say it is funny because genuinely it's like the moment you're out of high school or college, then if there's an anime made about you, it's because you were hit by a truck.
That's fair. That's fair.
So
Um,
in the mind
yeah.
of all of these anime creators, it's you're in high school or college, or you're dead.
Well, that's kind of the thought, I think, is that it's either you're in high school and college, but once you get out of college, it's like, oh, you're a career person now and you want to die.
You
Like,
hate your life and you're not allowed to be happy.
that's why there's a lot of fun, like, this will sound creepy when I say it, but like, I guess, adult romances, which is not what I mean. It's not like hentai, but like, romances of adults. Like, there's some really fun business-related ones that are quite interesting.
Yeah.
There's one that I started, I never finished, basically about a guy who has ice powers, who works secretly as a salaryman.
That's funny.
And I never finished it. I need to finish that.
I will say so that's something that Attack on Titan did alright. I mean, I know that a lot of the like scouts or whatever were young, but they did a decent job at introducing like a lot of older characters,
Yeah.
which I thought was
Yeah.
pretty good. And they never instituted a lot of romance stuff. Quote
No.
and emphasis on the creators,
Yeah.
because you know Mikasa is
yeah.
actually just obscenely fantasized about for whatever reason.
I take
still
your
don't get it.
Mikasa body pillow and I raise you a Levi body pillow.
I mean, he is the superior
I would
wife.
get a Levi body pillow.
I actually would own 2 of them. One to lend out, one to pimp for. I'll
This is
sell
my
it.
extra.
This
This is
is
my extra body pillow.
for,
I
for
promise
when
it's
Levi
not been
1
used.
gets dirty. I go to
My
Levi.
other one's in the wash.
I was
But I
literally
need my Levi tonight.
I was joking today at work with one of my coworkers and someone else because we were talking about like someone had the same name as someone else. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna call you Ben Prime, and then he was like, I'd hate to be Ben Sigma. He's like, what sucker gets stuck with Ben Sigma or like Ben Beta? I have my Levi Prime and my Levi Beta.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, Levi's never a beta. Levi's only an alpha.
All right, I have Levi Alpha and Levi Sigma.
There you go. That works.
Yeah.
Levi is the real G. He's the hero of AOT.
What we needed is for Levi to be instituted as Zoro. We needed just an anime version of Levi in place of Zoro.
See, what they should have done, honestly, and this is kind of a dumb thought, but they should have just pulled a Jujutsu Kaisen and made the next series of AOT just about Levi.
Please. That would have been so
Honestly,
good. Or just
I
about
would be
anyone
like, "Oh, I'll
else.
watch it." Yeah, just make it about the potato girl.
honestly. Or I'm trying to think who else.
If it's about Armin, I will murder all of Japan.
if they ever make a series about Armin, I will quit anime then and there.
That is the worst thing ever.
The worst character to exist. Oh my gosh.
On the tier list of the worst anime or worst characters in fiction, Armin's like on the higher parts of that
He's
list.
not even just for anime, for fiction.
I know, in fiction in general. Armin's just terrible.
I would rather a book about a limp noodle. Like a 400-page novel about a limp
because
noodle on a
noodles
counter.
don't screech the entire time.
Yeah. At least the limp noodle knows what it is.
Let's say it's again same problem with I have the same problem with Zenitsu, which I know you've not seen Demon Slayer, but
No.
Zenitsu's just the worst. Same exact character, just with a katana.
That's funny. And like that
Except
is,
he's actually useful, to be fair.
you know, maybe that's where the creators of the live action remake of One Piece got it from. They just like looked at all these characters and were like, this is what people like, right? And then wrote all of their characters to be exactly like that.
Yeah,
To just
exactly.
be punching
They're just like,
bags.
oh, this all bad character, go. And I feel bad. I feel genuinely bad. Going back to One Piece, I feel bad for the main actor of
He's getting
the
his
show.
career ruined right now. Well, apparently not.
Because it's
apparently this is
going
going to be
to
his
be-
biggest success.
If it is, I mean, I guess good. He's just not a good enough actor to be a leading man. He's just not.
No.
He's not. He's just not, he doesn't have the ability to. And he's got his filmography is very small. He's only done like 8 other things, and
I've
they're
looked
all
into
like
it.
pretty
They're
small.
all
parts from what I
mediocre
know.
reviewed. Like they're all under 8 stars and like
Yeah.
not super popular.
They're just they're none of them are super great. Everyone else, like I think Zoro, the actor for Zoro, did a
He was
good
good.
job.
He did a good job with what he was
But I don't
given,
think
but
he-
what they gave him was just
I don't think he
sociopath
was a-
with nothing.
I don't think he was a good Zoro.
No, he wasn't
because
a good
Zoro
He'd
to
be a good
me,
Levi.
yeah, honestly, yeah, he would. He just doesn't. He doesn't have. He's too cold, and Zoro's whole thing is that he's being kind of menacing.
Yeah.
But then under the surface, he's very soft.
Why did they just decide to make Zoro angsty teenage boy? Like his entire character
It's
was
kind of his
just like,
vibe. He's like an angry K-pop star.
yeah.
He looks like a K-pop star. I honestly thought when I first saw him, I thought, is this man a K-pop star or something?
Is he
J-pop
like
star,
legitimately
something
in
like
a
that.
J-pop band or something?
He looks like I think he's Japanese. He's actually Japanese, so we'll go J-pop. But he looks like a J-pop star. He looks just that super slick, greased up hair and the really like clean shaven, super smooth face. He looks like a J-pop star.
Yeah.
And then I think everyone else was fine. I think everyone did a good job. I couldn't get past whoever the general guy. I always forget his name.
He wasn't
Morgan,
great.
Captain Morgan.
Yeah, Captain Morgan.
And this is my exact problem with the show, and I knew it from the beginning. I said it for the entire time. You cannot adapt that kind of character design into a live-action format.
Just giving
You
him
just
like
can't.
a freaking hook or a like axe thing on top of his hand. So lame.
Well, that's what he has in the show.
Yeah, but it's
But he's,
like,
like-
a lot cooler. And
Bas-
like the jaw. And,
Basically,
like, the
he's
entire
like
design.
half metal,
Yeah.
and in this, he just looks like he's wearing a goofy face thing.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously not his jaw. It's very clearly just on top of his face.
Yeah.
For no reason. And then he has the one axe thing, but he just looks so
Goofy.
plain.
And they didn't use it that much. Also,
yeah.
they missed the entire beat about them making the statue of him on the roof of the Marine base, which I thought that was a funny and totally necessary bit. I don't know why. I just really liked it.
They completely, at least from in my opinion, they completely whiffed Captain Morgan's character.
Oh yeah.
Because his whole thing is like he's super egotistical. He thinks he's the best thing to ever happen to the Navy, and they didn't really cover that much. They kind of did,
Yeah.
but It's mostly just about him being a very serious, gruff captain who has a little bit of an ego.
They focus too much on his kid, which, like, his kid was good, but the whole point of the kid is supposed to be a throwaway character, honestly.
Yeah, the kid's there to be, like, an antagonist that's thinly veiled in front of the actual antagonist.
Literally, it's just supposed to be the my dad works at Microsoft kid. Like, that's
I'll get
his
you
energy.
kick off Call of Duty.
Yeah, like, quite literally, he's like, Zoro, I'm gonna get you banned off bounties, LOL.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, yeah, there's not... It completely misses the point. I don't know. That entire show, in my opinion, is just not good.
I feel bad because I do feel like I need to watch more to be able to fully judge it.
I invested an hour. That is enough. If it was like, again, if it was 20-minute episodes, to me, it follows exactly the 3-episode rule that everyone has. If you don't like the show within 3 episodes, you have a fair point in not liking it.
Yeah.
This is 3 episodes worth of a show. It is 64 minutes. It is 3 episodes worth of a show. I don't like it.
That's rough.
And so I officially, unless we really want the content, I'm not going back.
Farm the content. Actually, I would
I don't know
totally
what
be
I
fine
even
with
say.
farming it if we could watch it together, but Netflix has another problem, which is that they refuse to institute watch parties.
It's, yeah, I don't know. It would make a good watch together and record kind of show, but honestly, I don't even know what content we get out of it if we did this, we did a podcast for it next week.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like I've said everything I know about the show. I feel like I would just get validated.
Yeah. Or you'd get proven entirely wrong. I don't know. Maybe the 96% has a point.
Maybe, but
maybe.
At this point, I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna go watch the anime.
Hold on, I want to look at the Rotten Tomatoes. I want to see if there's any like funny reviews. Wait, okay, so so why does it have a 96%? Oh, here's a rotten review. Someone said it's too busy balancing its candy-colored aesthetic with its more adult themes. As a result, neither vision really comes out on top. Which is, that's something that you were talking about, where it's like they should have committed to either being like cartoony vibes or being serious pirate vibes.
Exactly. It feels like Pirates of the Caribbean, where they threw in some weird, this is what I said in my review. I actually wrote. It feels like, basically, here's the entire thing. The costume design doesn't fit, and it's not the fault of the costume designers. The main characters with their over-the-top and funny outfits ruin any serious scene they are in. There were so many times that I was immediately pulled out of the show because the costuming just didn't fit outside of the animated show. Had they adapted the outfits to a more natural and period-accurate style, then it wouldn't be so bad. But as it stands, this is way too distracting and makes it hard to watch. And basically, all of the characters feel like either a serious actor from Pirates of the Caribbean or a freaking what was the show? Where is it? I lost it. I used to example. Oh yeah, or a reject from Bridgerton.
That's funny.
They don't fit. The aesthetic is so colorful and over the top, and it doesn't fit inside the atmosphere of a serious pirate show.
There's some really funny reviews. Someone said the deeper we get into the season and the more we learn about each member of the crew, the more One Piece drags. The real treasure to be found here, a genuine celebration of Aikaro Oda's work just under the surface of these 8 episodes. Maybe we'd see it if the show came from anywhere else. And this is like the cherry on top of the cake. I think both of us have been kind of talking about in terms of like the problem, which is if the best result one can hope for from an approximation of the original, close or far, what does this version of One Piece provide that the original can't? Which is like, why are we doing this live action thing?
Yeah.
Why? What exactly is the purpose? Is the purpose to show off how far CG has come? Cool, then make something that requires CG and utilizes live action. But it's just not working out.
Oh gosh. That's why it's not. Oh no.
What?
Oh no. Okay, hold on.
You figure out why its reviews are good?
Oh, it's a producer? No, I figured out why the writing is so mid.
Who's the producer?
The producer's not that big of a deal because the producer is 11 credits. Okay. So one writer is fine. There was a few episodes written in Lost. This is Steve Maeda, one of the writers. It's two writers that did most of it. Who's done? He's done stuff like, I don't know most of it, but he did Lost, a few episodes of Lost. He did a few episodes of CSI Miami. He did a few episodes of the X-Files. Wow, a lot of episodes of the X-Files.
He
Holy
does
crap!
not have Salvation, Miami Medical, Daybreak, Lost, CSI Miami, and X-Files. Yeah, that's all he's ever done.
Matt Owens is the reason it sucked. I can guarantee you that.
Matt Owens, what is
Because
he
he
worked
did The Defenders, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Oof.
Luke Cage.
Wow.
And not even the good parts of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the bad parts of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when it sucked.
2016 to 2018.
After that was way past its prime.
Ooh, that's rough.
So yeah, that's why it's so mid. Because Matt Owens is just not. I don't think Matt Owens is just talented enough to do it.
I think this show just suffers so heavily from an identity crisis of like, what does it want to be? First of all, what does it want to be? It never told me what it actually wanted to be.
It wants to be One Piece.
It wants to be One Piece. The problem is One Piece is not a live action show.
Yeah.
And it couldn't figure that out. It was stuck between wanting to be One Piece and trying to find its own identity. Like, I would have been fine with the show if they had gone down the darker route. That would have been fine. That's actually what live action is there for. Is to explore some of the more like emotional, like human components of it all.
Yeah.
Or
if
like
they had actually like adapted the characters to be a more serious role, it would have been a different take on it. I mean, it's the same reason I gave like the only Disney quote unquote live act based on another movie I've actually somewhat enjoyed was Maleficent, because it was a darker retelling from a different perspective. If they had done that with this show, make the characters different, make it more adapted to live action, and make it a more serious pirate story, it could be interesting. Or I thought the same thing with Cowboy Bebop when the live action came out of that.
I still need to watch that.
I didn't watch the
amazing things.
I watched part of the live action and gave up because it wasn't good. But basically, it's just I felt like Cowboy Bebop, the live action one, could have been an interesting idea if it followed in spirit of something like Firefly, which Firefly is basically following in the spirit of the animated Cowboy Bebop, but it's live action. Oh no, are you serious? I didn't know they were doing that. Netflix is making a Lupin Part 3 anime adaptation. That's another anime.
I haven't seen it.
Lupin Part 3 is it's another pretty prominent anime. I haven't seen it either, but stop making adaptations. Dude.
I honestly wish they had done something else with One Piece instead of trying to do like a series adaptation. Done like a movie that is supposed to be like just Luffy's backstory.
Yeah.
Like if they had just gone with like all of him and Shanks' history and like how he was as a kid and how he got to where he was.
Could have been interesting, but
and like that was the entire film. That would have been better. They just don't know what to do, and it sucks, and it's not good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. What would your rating be? You've told me your rating, but I don't know if it's fluctuating.
No, it's still a 5. I think I don't want to be overly negative because I think it has potential. The actual team behind the show, in terms of a practical effect perspective, is very talented. They did a very good job. On the opposite side, the writing team and the general idea of adapting One Piece into live action is an absolute failure.
Oh. Never mind.
It's an absolute failure, and so it's, to me, I put it at, I said 5. I might bump it down to a 4. That's kind of where I sit.
Yeah.
I just get.
Just talking about it made you hate it.
I mean, it just fails on every single level to me. And I don't get how many people love this show. I just don't get it. If you love it, that's fine. Like, you are more than welcome to like it. But for me, my brain does not realize it was just boring. Just boring.
Yeah. I think I originally kind of had settled this is gonna sound ludicrous. This is gonna sound insane. I had originally settled on an 8 out of 10, and then the more I actually thought about, like, all right, let's think about this from like a critical point of view, it just kept falling number by number, because I realized, like, I just like pirate.
Yeah.
Me brain go big for pirate.
Well, I think like when
so
we talked about Rings of Power, you're the same kind of way where you said like the biggest thing you loved is the fantasy aspect, not necessarily the story.
yeah, and I think the story is actually fine. It's not a good Lord of the Rings story. It's a terrible Lord
if it was
of
its
the
own
Rings
thing.
story, but it's a
Well,
good story.
that is the problem with adaptations in general of everything. Is it would be a good
Yeah.
thing on its own if they would just make a unique premise. If they had made Rings of Power,
Yeah,
but
but-
not Lord of the Rings, it wouldn't. I still don't think it's great. I think there's a lot of flaws, but
But it would have been
it would have been
more
a
popular, and
like
also-
it probably been less popular. I don't know. It would be in the middle somewhere. But it at least would have been a passable fantasy series, not piggybacking off the already fantastic Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So I think, I started an 8 out of 5.
8 out of 10, you mean?
Or 8. No,
8 out of 5. You
8 out
sound
of
like
10.
One Piece. You sound like One Piece stan.
I would probably give it a 6.5 out
Yeah?
of 10. All in all, I think it was more enjoyable than you let off, because you're very
Oh,
critical
yeah, I know.
about things, which is good for being critical about things. But as someone who can enjoy a show like Rings of Power or Mandalorian or even Obi-Wan, like, in terms of eye candy and like general vibes, like a 6.5. But yeah, I think the 6.5 comes entirely from general vibes and not
Yeah.
necessarily from plot
Yeah.
or story or character development or writing.
Well, that's like, to me, is like the general vibes. To me, when I see general vibes that I like, I just see the story and realize, man, this makes it even worse to me because the vibes could have been better used somewhere else. I would love a good pirate show. Love a good pirate show.
Please just give us a good
But,
pirate show.
yeah,
We are desperate.
won't.
Since Johnny Depp has sworn off of Disney, now I'm like, I will never get the return of good pirate content.
Yeah, it's just, it won't happen. It won't. It's sad. It's same with pirate video games. Like I've said, it's like there's no good pirate stuff anymore. Pirate stuff is such an underutilized genre, and
Why are we so
Well,
against it? Is Black Flag really our
Black Flag,
benchmark?
and then you Sea of Thieves, which I won't play because I don't like being killed by everyone. But
I just don't like the fact that no matter what I do in that game, I'm the same
Yeah.
as when I started.
you like Guild Wars.
That's the point in all of it.
I mean, it's Guild Wars yourself progression.
Then
You
what?
get. I was thinking you get Guild Wars, which is
Guild Wars has progression.
It's just
its problem
horizontal.
just it's horizontal progression, which I appreciate because it's like you can get to a certain point and then you're always
Yeah.
good. Whereas, like, in Sea of Thieves, I'm the same as when I was on hour
Mm-hmm.
1.
yeah. It's I don't know. I feel like in the grand scheme of things, One Piece is just a flop to me. If you,
It'll do what
in
it
my
does,
opinion, like if
and
you want to
then-
go watch, if you want to watch One Piece, go watch the anime. It's so easy.
It's so much better, too.
Yeah.
It's just like, there's a reason it has so many episodes.
This reads has been going on
Listen,
for
I'm not a shonen guy, but it's
how long? Good Lord, 25 years.
it's a vibe. Yeah, it's insane. If you're looking to just like vibe out on your couch when you're off work and like have a bowl of cereal, that's the show to
Yeah.
do it. I'm gonna be
Saturday
real.
morning, just turn on One Piece and eat cereal for 2 hours. Like, that's the vibe, right there.
That's the move right there. And I don't think that you should do that with the One Piece live adaptation.
No.
It's just that's like I did it because we were like, let's do it for the episode. It's content.
Views, baby.
And I don't know that I ever would have touched it.
No,
if it
I
wasn't
100%
that.
wouldn't.
And I enjoyed it. But I also like didn't feel good after
Yeah.
it.
It doesn't give you the fun feeling.
And that's not what shonen anime should do.
Well,
Shonen anime is supposed to leave you feeling like that was pretty cool.
that's like the hardest thing to me is, like I mentioned before, it's like it doesn't have any cultural necessity. It doesn't do anything new. And that's the feeling you get
It
after
serves no
after watching
function.
One Piece. Like, I just watched a piece of culture. Versus, like, with this, it feels like, oh yeah, I watched something that'll be forgotten in 3 months. Because it's just One Piece
Literally.
exists, the original show. What's the point of watching a copy of
yeah.
something?
I don't even think it. I think it hit trending for like a day or two.
It
on
was
Netflix,
number
but I
one.
don't think it's gonna continue.
It was number 1. I can double check now, but it was number 1 when I watched
It's pretty
it.
easy to compete.
I mean,
when-
also Netflix does
when
flub
we're-
the numbers
when we're
too.
Writers and actors.
Then
Oh,
Netflix
definitely. I guarantee you, Netflix does that.
top 10 is what it says. No. Don't do that. I don't want to watch the episode again. Yucky.
Don't recommend me.
Okay, number 2, according to this. So it says number 2 right now. That's also been known to be completely fabricated, so I don't know if I trust it. But it's there.
Yeah. So I don't know. If I had to give it a watch or pass, I don't know. Watch the first 5 minutes, see if you like it.
If you
And if you don't
really looking for that live action pirate fix, it will suffice.
Go watch Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, that if you've seen that enough and you really want that live action pirate fix that you can't find much else, it will maybe do it. It's
do
like
it.
wanting a lot of.
But alternatively, you could just watch actual One Piece and pretend it's real.
That's fair. I mean, it's like being super hungry and then having to end up going to Golden Corral. It's there.
That's a good description.
It's got stuff.
It's always there if you
It's
need it.
there.
You might want a cheeseburger. Are you gonna get that cheeseburger from Golden Corral? God, I hope not.
If you want better, there's other places that are better, but you've probably been to that place before. So if you want something
There's a
new,
Burger King across the street, and you can
I
get
mean,
their burger, but you got their burger yesterday.
botulism is new too, so I'm
Yeah.
sure most people haven't had that. But no, it's just if you're really looking for that fix, it's there. But if you're just looking to watch One Piece, just go watch the original. And
Just go
the
watch
one
Piece,
thing,
man.
the one singular credit I will give live action adaptations of anime is it's a way to onboard people to watch anime in general, kind of.
Because you can say, you know how bad this is? Just go watch the anime.
It's that, but also people are like, oh, this is the live action show. I saw One Piece on Netflix. Oh wait, that's an anime, and then they might consider
Yeah.
going and watching it. Same reason that they had the Last of Us TV show. Is that people who would never go play The Last of Us got to see what The Last of Us is like. So I guess in that regard, it's something. But I don't know. I feel like if you wanted to watch One Piece, you would go just watch the anime because it's significantly better.
just go to just watch the anime.
That's how you can sum up
Yep.
the show in general. Just go
That's
watch the
about it.
anime.
That's about it from me. Just go watch the anime. I'm gonna go watch the anime. Like, genuinely, this has just made me want to go back and watch the anime.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it at some point. It's a good time.
I'm like, I want pirate vibes, so I'm gonna go back. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Cool.
that's about it. I think.
That's all from us.
I mean, it's hour
guess.
15. If we want to go longer, we can. But
I think for one episode of an anime, that's fine.
hour-long episode. We have talked officially longer than the episode.
We have literally talked longer than the episode, and I would argue we've said more.
Probably done something a little more. Not
Substantial.
Yeah, I wouldn't say unique. I wouldn't say we've done anything unique. We're just talking about something that exists and critiquing it. So
Oh, this is trashy or trash taste.
that's about the vibe. This is trash taste, but
Trashier taste.
trashier taste. There we go. We have a name.
There we go.
I'll go on one final tangent before we stop, and it's one I was gonna go on earlier.
Yeah.
About my anime list. I get so sick of the stupid like clan feuds on that app. It's like every single day, it's someone.
You use the
I
app?
do, yeah. I use it because
That's hilarious. I just use web, and I almost never go
I
on
go
it.
on the app because first of all, it does say anime news sometimes, which is interesting. I like seeing it sometimes, but also because I'll go in there and input whatever I watched on the app because I watch it on my TV. I don't want to go to my computer and write whatever. I'll just do it on my phone. So I like that. But it's like I go into these, and there is just so much stupid stuff.
It's a cesspool.
Everyone fights all the time for the top spot. It's ridiculous. Everyone wants everyone's constantly fighting for Attack on Titan Season 3, Part 2, which, to be fair, banger of a season, just phenomenal TV. But everyone's fighting for that or Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, all the time, every day. There's at least once or twice. One of them is taking the top spot. The other one has to go and swoop in and reset it back to FMAB.
This is a world I'm just not familiar with.
You should get familiar.
I trust your judgment on it. I just downloaded the app.
You set notifications on, and you'll get it all the time. It's them whining about, I want this one to win.
My show's better.
And it's just ridiculous.
Who cares? My show's fun.
Shingeki no Kyojin Season 3 Part 2 is now the 5th highest rated anime of all time, and Kaguya-sama Ultra Romantic falls one place. I'm not saying the Japanese name because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I need to set mine just to have...
actually.
Yeah, it's actually pronounced this way.
This is how the anime would actually
In the
have it
original
pronounced.
Japanese,
You don't
it
speak
actually
Japanese
means
like I
this.
speak Japanese as a man from America.
I know Japanese for the most part. I taught it to my Mikasa waifu pillow.
Oh, same.
It's so funny why Mikasa is the one character. That's a podcast idea we should do. We should rank everyone's waifus.
I'm totally down. We'd have to go back and watch an episode from each waifu. Though.
I think we know. I think we have seen most of the generic waifus. Like unless I guess Ava's the one I haven't seen because that one's a big. I know that's in itself its own war. Is the two love interests in that.
Yeah.
But it could be interesting. I also would love to at some point. This would be way down the road, but to go like rank people's My Anime list and talk about hot takes. That'd be fun. But that actually requires people to watch this. So
yeah, that's fine.
That's a hurdle. We'll see if we get past.
Yeah. Thanks, Greg, for listening.
And you, Steve. I don't know with Steve.
Jim.
Because no one's
Sally,
no one's named Steve watching this. No one, unless there's someone named Steve, then welcome. But like, legit.
Then thanks.
Maybe Steve comes in like 3 years from now after we've got like more than two. Yeah.
Binges the entire.
Yeah, I've
thing.
been there. I did it with Trash Taste.
That's crazy. I can't imagine.
I mean, it wasn't when I started doing the Trash Taste. It's like I started when it was 100 episodes, less than 100 episodes. This was like a year ago, over a year ago actually. I've not caught up. I got to about episode 60 and then quit because I just no shade being thrown to the Trash Taste anything, but like the vibe shifted and it got a little less interesting to me. So.
That's all good. That's all good.
It came not for me, and that's okay.
I did listen to a 10-segment clip about hotness ratings of Vietnamese food versus Japanese food.
Interesting.
And that was about where I was like, do I really want to keep listening?
They have some fun stuff. Like I like the more life-oriented stuff, but I'm more looking to talk about anime. I mean, maybe eventually we'll dabble into life stuff, but
yeah, it's a mess though. No one wants to hear about that.
People like to hear about messy life stuff because it makes them feel good too.
Yeah. But that's coming up.
Yeah, that'll be. We'll just talk about your life.
The
next episode, just you talking about your life.
Next episode is going to be titled Saya's life in a nutshell.
Cast your life as cast like anime people as your life. Like you have to make an anime.
I'll do that. You know what? I'll do that. I'll set a reminder on
my
phone. Hold on. Let me set a reminder. Yeah.
So.
And it's gonna be a live action.
Oh no, that's bad. It's a live action of an anime of your life.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
That's a good enough note to end on.
Well, thanks for nobody for listening.
This was fun.
Thanks.
It's fun to talk about. We'll keep going every week, Saturday morning. Tune in. We're talking about
we'll
anime stuff. Hopefully, maybe, possibly. We'll try to see what we can do. And we're having a good time. We're just talking about anime, doing whatever.
Don't expect perfection. Expect
the
hot takes.
vibe of this is the least amount of perfection as possible. We're going for just low budget as possible.
If you like it or think it sounds good, let me know. I'll change it.
If you think this sounds amazing, like the audio quality, I'll go buy like Five Below headset and talking to the mic really close to my mouth.
You mean like this?
Hey guys, welcome to our new anime podcast.
Yeah.
We're gonna go all Call of Duty in here.
All right.
That's it. That's a good ending.
all.
Take that home with you.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Peace out, y'all.